He's Chase Sr. I'm Harrison Graham. Any given Thursday, roll it along with you. Check us out every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central on our main Chat Sports channel. Let's get into the latest around Ben Simmons and 3 teams potentially involved in the mix here. Obviously, you have Philadelphia, who is still stuck with him, but Dallas, Golden State, Chase, what's going on here? What's going on with these rumors?
Yeah, so here's what we have coming up, and really this is a heater of a show. Simmons, according to reports, and we'll get to that report here in just a second, prefers a destination of either the Golden State Warriors or the Dallas Mavericks. Very, very interesting. There was also a meeting in downtown Philadelphia between Daryl Morey, the Sixers front office and ownership, and Rich Paul and Clutch Sports to try to talk this out to move closer to an NBA trade of Ben Simmons. And we'll also explain some trade ideas for each team involved, the Dallas Mavericks and the Warriors, coming up in just a few moments.
So here was the report, rumor, hard to say, Mo Mootsie of Sky Sports, which I believe is it in Canada?
International. No,
Europe?
It's England,
okay.
London.
Per a source in the Simmons camp, which Simmons is Australian, so there's probably some international reporters that have some access. His preferred team in the West is Dallas and Golden State. He realizes Golden State is highly unlikely and thinks Philly's asking price is too steep. Fears the 76ers may not trade him at all, which obviously up to this point has been true.
You know it's international when it's realizes with an S, not a Z.
Yes, that's a good call.
That's the indication.
That's a good call,
yeah.
yes. Here's Woj as well, because the 76ers and Simmons reps, led by Rich Paul, met recently. Meeting in downtown Philadelphia was described as amicable and professional, but Morey reiterated the franchise's stance that it won't make a Simmons trade unless it believes the return gives it a chance to compete for a championship, sources said. Paul told the Sixers that Simmons' mental health hurdles continue to preclude him from a return to play with the team, and the desire for a trade out of Philadelphia remains in place. So you've got a lot going on here, Chase. You've got the stalemate between Ben Simmons and the Sixers, and now you've got rumors really from all kinds of websites and sources, and it's kind of hard to really figure out what's true, but I'll say this, with 25 days or so to go before the trade deadline, things are heating up around Ben Simmons.
You know what's funny, too, and we're all sensitive to mental health issues, and I'm glad it's become more of a talking point here in America and internationally, because it is a serious problem for millions and millions of people out there. And Ben Simmons has kind of blamed mental health issues for why he hasn't suited up for Philadelphia, but then conversely, on the other side of that, his reps in Clutch Sports have been telling teams that if you trade for Ben Simmons, all he needs is a little bit of conditioning to get back into game shape, and he'll be ready to go. So are we just going to automatically throw out those mental health issues that he was alluding to and talking about for why he couldn't play for Philadelphia? Here's the borderline truth, and if nobody wants to keep it a buck, I will. He's not dealing with any mental health issues. Ben Simmons is a little bit soft mentally. He is done with Philadelphia, and that's fine. It's become a contentious relationship over time, but he's never taken accountability for all of his flaws, all of his weaknesses. And finally, it all came to a boiling point in the playoffs last year, and everybody became tired of it. Part of that frustration from the Philadelphia fan base is that they see Ben Simmons having so much potential. He has greatness within him. He's an excellent defender. In my argument, the best in the league. But he's never worked on his offensive game. And he doesn't want to. He's never shown a willingness to do that, and now he's blaming everybody else for his problems?
Let me add this as well, the mental health issue thing, because I tend to agree with you. It just doesn't add up. And here's the thing that frustrates me about these type of issues is if you use mental health as an excuse, you're almost worse than the people who don't even think mental health is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're finally getting to a place where we're addressing this as a real problem.
Exactly.
But then you have people who just use it as a crutch when it's not actually true within that person, and that's problematic.
It's in the fine tuning and fine writing of contractual stuff in his contract and with the NBA Players Association. So it's smart for Simmons and Rich Paul on their side
just
to
kind of
use
shady,
it,
man.
But it's kind of shady at the same time.
So what's the best fit? Just staying in Philadelphia. I think if he could get over all this stuff, it could still be a good fit. Type PHI. Golden State, I think he'd fit in well there, to be honest. I just don't know how they pull that trade off. We'll have a trade idea coming up. Type DAL for the Dallas Mavericks. Get your votes in. Which team makes the most sense for Ben Simmons? So, obviously, look, you and I have bashed this guy for a long time now, but there are a lot of pros to Ben Simmons' game.
Yes. No, there are. And look, everybody wants to damage his trade value, and of course, it's not what it was even this point last year when he almost got traded for James Harden. You're not going to get close to getting a player like that in return. But we're talking about a special player who has pedigree, number one in the NBA draft back in 2016, first team all-defender. I thought he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Phenomenal athlete at 6'11", 240 pounds, and with that size, has special Magic Johnson-like court vision. Again, because of his size, I'm not comparing the players. He creates shots for his teammates, so while he doesn't shoot himself, he creates opportunities for others. He excels in the open floor. But on the other side of this as well, there's the bad with Ben Simmons. He's a liability in the half court, as we've seen in the playoffs time and time again. He's never taken onus in improving his offensive game. Last year in the playoffs, he shot 34% from the charity stripe, and of course, we all know what happened when he passed up on that dunk in Game 7 in the second round against the Hawks, and his fit with Embiid doesn't work. And he has more than $100 million remaining on his contract. For other teams out there, they're not sure the personality that they're getting back, the player that they're getting back, and while it's a good thing in some instances that he's under contract, given the money and the player who he is and the playoff shortcomings, it's kind of sketchy to a certain degree. And $33 million this year, $35 next, almost $38, then it goes up to $40 the final year of that contract. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2025 at the age of 29, still young. That's a lot of money to be paying for a guy who you don't know if he's a damaged asset or not.
Yeah, you don't know where he's at mentally in terms of confidence, if you will, like separate from mental health stuff. Like, does he believe in his own game at this point? Is he a guy that can gel with other superstar talents? Obviously, him and Joel Embiid at this point, that relationship is lost. Is he going to work on his offensive game at some point? Because I don't know if I want that contract, even if he locks back in, if he can't be a threat to shoot from the outside. And that's what makes all this so tricky, both for the 76ers and for Simmons himself, as he looks, wants a new home at this point.
Yeah, and look, I don't know what Daryl Morey is going to do. I really don't know what he's going to do. I mean, if his price tag is going to remain so high going into the NBA trade deadline, how is Simmons' value going to increase after the year? I don't see how it can if he doesn't play basketball and display any type of improvement on the offensive end of the floor.
So here's what we're going to do. Before we get to a trade idea, both from Golden State and Dallas, subscribe to our channels depending on what team you are a fan of. Main Chat Sports channel if you just love the NBA, the NFL. The link's down below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Closing in on 300,000 subscribers. Shout out to Laker Nation. We crossed 40,000 subs recently. Let's keep that train moving, youtube.com/LakersTV. Golden State Warriors today has been humming for months now, crossed 25K. Let's keep it moving there, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. We got our Dallas Mavericks channel crossing 15,000 subs, starting to slowly ramp up our coverage over there. Again, if you're watching this on our Mavs channel, hit that sub button. And then some of our smaller channels, especially Knicks and Sixers, have been growing pretty quickly. Celtics, though, all closing in on 8,000 subs, youtube.com/CelticsTV. Knicks channel, Knicks Now, closing in on 4,000. youtube.com/KnicksTV, and then 76ers now, almost at 3,500 subs. Chase and I, especially Chase, been grinding on our NBA channels. Support the company as a whole, Chat Sports. Subscribe across the board, and whatever fan you are or whatever team you are a fan of, go check us out.
Use it as competition, too.
Yeah,
if you're a Knicks fan or a Sixers fan or a Celtics fan, you're going back and forth. Lakers and Warriors is a great rivalry as well.
Yeah, keep it moving. Gotta love it. All right, let's get into these trade ideas. So we'll get to Dallas in a minute. Golden State first. So Ben Simmons to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody. Chase?
Now, the NFL is different than the NBA. In the NFL, you don't have to match salaries. You just have to have room in your salary cap in order to absorb a contract. The NBA is totally different. You have to match the money. So we put all of these trades into the trade machine, and financially they work. Now, for the Golden State Warriors, I wouldn't do this deal. I'd keep this roster intact. They're the best team in the NBA, in my opinion. That's with Klay Thompson recently coming back and James Wiseman on the way. Andrew Wiggins is a borderline all-star. Jordan Poole, who did start games earlier in the year, not included in this deal, but you kind of have this young nucleus of a guy like Wiggins and Poole and Kuminga and Moody. These are all very good pieces for Golden State. Now, for Philadelphia, I'd think about making this trade. Philadelphia at the time when Wiggins was coming out of Kansas, they were vying for him to come to Philly, and they really wanted him. Now, he's not lived up to those expectations, but he's a borderline all-star this year.
And
I think Jonathan Kuminga has Jaylen Brown types of potential. And Moses Moody, very good young player as well who can shoot the hell out of the rock.
Wiggins and Embiid obviously played together.
Exactly right.
They're tight by all accounts, so you've got that built-in relationship as well. For Dallas, this is the trade idea we cooked up. Ben Simmons and Jaden Springer as a salary, kind of roster filler there. Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, and Willie Cauley-Stein. I'd kind of thrown this one at you because Dallas, number one, Philadelphia doesn't want Porzingis. Him next to Embiid makes no sense. But Jalen Brunson, Northeast guy, Pennsylvania guy. I think he would be beloved in Philadelphia. You're talking about a guy who has gotten better and better every year. Now you'd have to pay him. He's going to be a free agent, so you got to be prepared to sign him if you make this trade. Tim Hardaway, not playing as well this year, but he's a guy that can go for 30 on any given night. He's going to average 15 to 20 points, and then Cauley-Stein kind of just a salary throw-in. He's actually been out for a while with personal reasons. This is an interesting one. You're not getting that star if you're Philadelphia, but you're getting two legitimate starting caliber players.
Yeah, and Tim Hardaway Jr. is a really good shooter. You get to bring Jalen Brunson back to the Philadelphia area where he starred, won 2 titles at Villanova under Jay Wright, and won College Basketball Player of the Year. Villanova is not in Philadelphia, by the way, if you're trying to search for that argument. Yeah, I got you covered on that. But Tim Hardaway, he can be a flamethrower any given night. I mean, you know that living here in Dallas.
Yep.
So I think that's a decent deal for Philadelphia, but with Daryl Morey's asking price, doesn't meet his demands, that's for sure.
No, he would have to lower his expectations, that's for sure. All right, so we'll end it on this. Is Ben Simmons an elite player? Type E for elite, type O for overrated. We haven't seen him play in a while, so I would probably lean overrated, but that does not mean he's not good. Get your votes in down in the comments.